Good evening. Actually, this music sounds a bit too loud. Um, so I'm not gonna make my live too long today. Um, I've been coming on live lately and kind of talking about, if anybody's checked out my stories, my experience with being gang stalked. That happened to me for a year. And then I just come and do like lives. I try to keep them short these days on kind of tips that I can offer people who are going through the same thing. So I think this has been going on for 2 years, but 1 year of like actively being followed literally everywhere. Um, I assume that there were more people. I'm sure there were many people that have gone through it. Otherwise, they wouldn't be so organized in the way that they do it. Um, But yeah, it's been a year and I want to say I'm like mostly moved on with my life. It's not really the type of situation where you can kind of wait for it to be done and be like, "Oh yeah, it's done and I've moved on with my life," and like or no one's following me anymore or whatever. You can't really do that sort of thing. You just have to decide that you're moving on with your life and craft your life, according to kind of like blocking all the exits where people try to access you and try to irritate you, because that's mostly what they're trying to do all the time is irritate you. Um, so tonight I figured out I'm gonna start doing like just little tips, like a tip of the day. Um, Let me backtrack a little bit. So this happened to me because they were trying to recruit me to be a drug mule, which obviously I'm not okay with. Um, so yeah, if anybody, first of all, if you're dating guys that are involved in that, you're not always gonna know. I feel like some things are very obvious, and then there's other things that you can't really tell. Like if you're around somebody who's like throwing money around, then maybe it'll be a little bit easier for you to like see that as a red flag. If you walk into it, you walk into it. I mean, you might blame yourself when things start getting crazy, but excuse me, but I feel like at the end of the day, it's not justified regardless of you as a woman probably making a poor decision and like, dating someone with resources and then not understanding where they're coming from. I think it's still not an excuse. So yes. So coming from that, my tip for the day for tonight is going to be tracked phones. Those people followed me for a full year before I realized that it was through the phone. And to be honest, I knew it was through the phone, but I needed my phone. I need my phone regardless. There's only so much you can do, especially if you're going to work and whatnot, like, and you have a schedule, like you need your device. It is what it is. If you have the same routine every day, which most of us do, there's nothing that you can do. You have the same exact routine all the time. You get up, you go to work. Most people do. You have some job or somewhere to be. And then even though you don't have like a particular place to be, you're going to do groceries, you're going to do more or less the same things. If you're going partying, like that's not the case for me. I didn't go clubbing and stuff like that, but I'm sure the more social you are is the more people that they can put around you. So for me, it was very much the phone. I'm gonna say so let me tell you, I have a specialty phone. That's why the quality of my phone is so bad. This phone, I think it's like $2,500. It comes from Finland, and you need to pay another $1,500 just to have someone moderate the phone for you. Did all of that, and they still bribed the company that was moderating the phone. Like one time for 3 weeks, I couldn't use the phone. Like the volume would not work on my phone. Like all types of nonsense. So I would say do not waste your freaking money. Or actually, I don't know. The jury's out. I would say don't waste your money on stuff like that, on specialty devices. If you have an iPhone or an Android, just use the phone that you're using, and I wouldn't even say turn your phone off if you take it out. Like just leave the phone at home if you can help it. I feel like if you find yourself in this kind of situation, you're living a different lifestyle anyway. it'll help you to just leave the device at home. And if you leave the phone at home, essentially, it's like it might force them to put a tracker on your car. But I feel like the police will take things a little bit seriously if there's a whole tracker on your car. Like, what can they do? They can't deny it. So I feel like now with smartphones, it's made things better for them that they can track people. I leave my phone at home. Tonight I forgot the stupid phone in my bag and it dinged. I was so pissed off. So they were trailing me and following me, and I went to do something, and you know, they have this thing where they like to like circle back whatever you were doing. They like to circle back behind you, probably to bribe the staff or ask the staff like what you were doing. So yeah. You know what? I'll say one of the bigger things about gang stalking is how aggravating they are more than anything else. Because really what they do is they take away your privacy from you. They take away your right to your information being your own. You don't even agree. Well, in my situation anyway, and I'm sure a lot of people are like that. You don't even agree to be a part of this thing. I think in my situation, someone was paid for me to be recruited in. I didn't want to be recruited in, but they had already spent the money. And so now they just needed it to look like I was in, or bully me into being in, because they went and their dumbass went and spent the money, or took money, or took a deal and then couldn't make the deal happen. So now they're bullying me. And at the same time, it's like they done effed up their life playing games with me and still want to bully me into an apology, like into forgiveness, like into forgiving them. Like, if you can only imagine, like, that's not how forgiveness works. Like, that is a whole emotion. Like, your life is done, finished. Like, the money, like your business relationships, like the contracts, is done. Bye, done, finished. So it's like you can't bully somebody into forgiving you. It's like the most lunacy all the time. Somebody who just never learned boundaries. Somebody who just never learned boundaries. Somebody whose neediness and greediness and jealousy has a life of its own. It's absolutely nuts. But anyways, I think the hardest part for me always is just how irritating they are, to be honest with you. Watching people destroy their life by following me around and having a smug look on their face. And I always imagine, like, the day they're probably at home and realize, like, their life is probably going crazy because they were gang stalking me, and wondering to themselves, like, did I look stupid smirking? Like, or feeling like I was so smart or I was so intelligent, and now it's like all the good luck out of my life is gone. As a matter of fact, it looks like bad luck is here. It's not even just neutral. So it's like they're just irritating more than anything. It's just irritating. It's like that's what I have to grapple with more than anything. Leave my goddamn door. That's what I have to grapple with more than anything. So I sympathize with people going through this. I know that there are people that are already in and they watch them like a hawk. They're always around. It's not just a situation, I feel like, that's just happening to me. I know it's happening to other people. There were people that they would send to my store, and then they would send somebody right after to watch the person that they sent do the job that they're supposed to do. I think maybe those people were new. Maybe those people couldn't be 100% relied upon quite yet. They hadn't turned evil, because in this thing, I'm pretty sure that it's pretty easy to just turn, to accept your fate. You start off as a good person and they abuse you so much, and then you lose all your goodness. They suck it right out of you. They use you for that, actually. And then you just stop believing in God, because in your mind you're like, if God exists, like, how could this happen to me? God absolutely does exist. God is there to help you. It took me a year of active stalking to come to a point where it's like, okay, I know my way forward. I know I had to walk through every door. Every phase of that year was training on a new thing that I had to learn. So, wherever my journey takes me, I have to know how to be gang stalked. It might need to happen again. And then maybe the second time it happens, it'll be like, a reflex for me. Like, oh, okay, I've been here before. I know how this works. Um, that's how I take life. That's how I see things. Because in my life, everything seems cyclical. And I think it's like that for most people, where you go through one thing, you successfully graduate from that thing, you've learned the lesson, and then it comes back again, it comes back around, and then you have to go through something like that again. But this time, that problem is a part of a bigger problem. So you have this huge mountain in front of you and you're like, oh, I remember scaling that. Oh, I remember scaling that. Okay, I can do this. But yeah, part of the reason why, yeah, I could say that. Part of the reason why I wasn't totally, I don't know, broken down mentally by this is because, like, first of all, first one, I'd kind of already been through stuff like this before. Um, the micro lessons, I'd been through them before. But two, it's like whenever I get like a huge storm like this in my life, like a huge hurdle, I'm just like, look, I gotta figure out what this is trying to teach me, learn it, and move on. It's not something I dwell on. It's kind of like, and this is how life works. If somebody's coming to your job, so gang stalkers, somebody comes to your job every day and they heckle you. The first couple times it pisses you off. By the second or third time, I'm like, okay, what is this trying to teach me? Or how can I stop myself from reacting this way? I'm going to experiment with a couple reactions or with a couple solutions. When I find one that works, I stop reacting, I stop caring. There's only so much they're going to continue doing it if it's not going to have the desired effect. Lesson learned, cycle closed, case closed, we're on to another one. That pushes them to the point of, well, we have to figure out something else that's going to piss this person off, or that's going to bring some sort of abuse to this person. So we're on to the next thing, and then the next thing, and the next thing, and the next thing. And that's literally how it's been. It's like every time something is done to me to take away something from me, I have to literally just jump over that hurdle, find a solution, and move on. I don't really expend a lot of energy into it. I don't put a lot of emotion into it. Like, there's no point. It's like just settling into whatever your condition is. You really take away all of its power once you do that. I don't sit here and think I'm waiting for the day that it's all done. I don't. It's like a part of me is just like, okay, well, if this is the rest of my life, then I better learn to be comfortable, and I better learn how to get around it, and I better learn, what I need to do in order to feel, because I'll be damned if anybody gets one more year of my life of me feeling uncomfortable. And, just going to Vegas in the middle of this, it's like, oh, listen, I'll be taking vacations. I'll be living my life. And if people have money to continue to like follow me around or do it for free, hell, however it goes, then that's how it goes. If the people that they made the agreement with to bring me in just figure that they're going to square off whatever with them, that's none of my business. I wasn't there when agreements were being made. I shouldn't have to listen to no apologies. I should have no business in anything because no one came to me to ask my opinion before. People are only sorry that they're getting effed up. People are only sorry that it's backfiring. They're not actually sorry. If that had worked out, there would have been more Lamborghinis for the people at the top, more Rolls-Royce trucks, more Ferraris, bigger houses. Not on my watch. Not off of me. They'll do that off of somebody else, but nobody's getting paid off of me. And that is something that I am taking to everybody else's grave with them because I'm staying alive. It is what it is. That's just my feeling about it, and that's just what it's going to be. And whoever is upset is just going to have to punch a wall. So you can't punch me. So that's my tip for the night. It's a tracked phone. The tracked phone, leaving your phone at home will save you a world of drama. Whatever you're going through, leave your phone at home. It will save you a world of, as soon as you get on that highway and you wiggle your car away through the traffic, you weave through the traffic and you go. As soon as you do that, there's nothing that anyone can do. You're gone. You're out of there. So when you have your phone on you, they don't even really, if they're following you right behind you, it's just to intimidate you and let you know that they know where you are. But if you don't have a phone on you, somebody needs to actively stay on you at all times. So it makes it a lot easier once you leave the phone at home. I'm not saying to turn the phone off. I've seen my phone turn back on by itself. I'm saying to leave the phone at home and go about your day and go do whatever it is that you need to do for the day and enjoy an ice cream cone outside and just have moments of clarity and peace. You do not need people following you all the time. It is what it is. For myself, while we're on the tracked phone, the other thing I'm going to tell you is put a lock on your SIM card. When you lock your SIM card, no one can turn on the phone without the passcode. So as you're turning on your phone, it requires a passcode because it's not fully on yet. They can't see what the passcode is, so they can't turn your phone on. So leave the phone at home and go to your company and get you a SIM card with a pin on it. Once you lock your SIM card, now you could turn off your phone and no one can turn your phone back on. Or at the very minimum, you can travel with your phone. You can travel with your phone and you could turn it off. And even if they try to turn it back on, they can't turn it all the way back on to track you. And then the second point I'm going to add to that is, now I'm not too sure right now, but in the beginning when the SIM card was locked, I think it blocks your calls from being listened to. That's why they took the mic off of my phone at one point because I was making calls and then I think they couldn't listen in on the calls because the SIM card was locked. Listen, I'm dealing with a narcissist who has an obsessive personality that makes them prone to addictions. So they become addicted to you, to hurting you, to seeing you suffer, etc. And if they can't make you suffer, then they get addicted to the idea of trying to make you suffer. So you need to wean this person off of points of access to you as much as possible. They are going to get used to not getting their way by hell or by high water. So if somebody has an addiction to listening to your calls or intercepting your calls by locking your SIM card, you essentially are going to wean them off of the addiction. I'm sorry, that's my cat. He always does this when I come on live. I feel like, anyways, I'm not going to go into it. If somebody has an addiction to listening to your calls, they need to come to terms with not listening to your calls anymore. So that's what you got to do. You got to get somebody very used to not listening to your calls so they could go to something else. And then you shut that door and then you go to something else and then you shut the other door and the other door and the other door until we're left with either very few doors, one or two doors. Like right now, the only way people can see me is if I go outside. That's how it's going to stay. I get to decide, what I'm going to do. And they don't always know when I'm going outside. That's the other thing too. No matter how much they want to keep people outside and whatever, they can't indefinitely keep it's not logical. It's not a logical use of manpower, right? So you want to get yourself into those positions. I'm going to have more tips, but today the tips are for the phone. So the two tips are: one, you're going to leave your phone at home, or two, not or, but and get a new SIM card with a lock on it so that people can't just be turning your phone on or doing certain things with your phone while you're out and about. If you do have the phone on, turn off the mobile data on the phone, because it needs to be turn off both Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and data, so that the phone itself is not like reaching out for signals. Those are my tips for tonight. Stay safe. I'm going to put the video on, well, it's already late, so I probably won't upload this tonight, but I'm going to put this on YouTube. I'm going to put a link in my stories for the YouTube as well. You guys can check the link out. You guys can listen to my gang stalking story on there. Yeah, that's it. That really is the tip that I have right now. I guess while I'm on it, I should probably, because I have about 10 minutes left, I should probably talk about, my phone was mirrored. And if you're going through this, they're mirroring your phone so they can see everything that you're doing on the phone. You want to try to do things in person wherever you can. Now for me personally, I do not care what's mirrored anymore. Like, I don't care. I can't remember when it happened that I didn't care, but it's been like a long time. Like, I don't care. I'm just gonna do whatever I have to do either way, and who cares if anybody knows, because like, what are they gonna do? They're gonna try to be a burden. They're gonna try to step in my way. They're gonna try to stop me from doing things, but there's parameters. I beg and pray every day to find some shred of evidence that I can take to court, because over time the evidence will pile up. From the stab tires to the this to the that to the that to the that. Like, they know that I want that too. They're not going to give it to me. And I feel like other things happen with other people, but it's like not going to happen to me because nobody would want me to have that satisfaction. But I will. I will. There's no way to run this as long as it's been running without fumbling it. It's already not going to work, right? It's already... a year is way too long. Way too long. And like, you know, when you get somebody to the point that they don't have things that are scaring them, and like they're used to being gang stalked and they don't see a threat with any of it, and then they're talking crazy and they're threatening you spiritually and all this kind of like, what is that? You got to ask yourself, like, what is the purpose? It's not even intimidating. It's just like, it's not even annoying. It's not even exhausting. It's just like every day. It's just like everyday life now. It is what it is, you know? So it's lost all its luster. And instead of thinking that there's no God, and instead of thinking that like you've been abandoned or forsaken, you know, it's a pretty good skill to learn how to ignore this level of persecution. I'm grateful. I think this is valuable. To learn how to endure being tracked and everything about you being tracked and being intimidated and being bullied, like that's valuable, right? But yeah, that is the tip for tonight. I will put a link in my YouTube. I'm so sorry about my cat. Like, thank God this is for YouTube, because YouTube is a lot more informal. But yeah, I'll put a link onto my YouTube. And then like I try to put like little clips in my stories as well, so you could know what the videos are going to be about. And like I said, I just pray that this helps someone who's going through a situation. My whole life changed when I stopped walking around with my phone. Like, it was just such a relief, because it's like, if I don't have to deal with it, then I won't deal with it. If I have to deal with it, it's like, whatever, I'll endure it. It is what it is. But if I don't have to, why not? And then it forces them to hopefully put a tracker on my car, which I've been waiting for. So anyway, have yourself a good night, as it is night right now, but I probably will, by the time I post this, it'll be in the morning. And then again, I'll put a link. So that's my video for today.